Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mythlok with your host Nitin Nair. Now, as you know, we love mythology here at Mythlok, and one of the most exciting mythologies that we have explored so far has been South American for its immense cultural importance and the whole mysticism that is associated with it. They have left these amazing unimaginable structures around South America, which we really don't know how they were created or why they were suddenly left in the wilderness. Now, it always comes down to the fact that how well has history been recorded. Now, unfortunately, the South Americans did not have a written language, which meant that most of these stories were passed on orally, and all we have are interpretations and stories that we have heard from people from the region talking about their history, their gods, and all the other characters who were supposedly involved in the creation of these myths as well as these structures that still exist today. Now, one of the most interesting ones among the whole South American mythological sphere is the Incas. Now, the Incas were a group of people who has really surprised the world with what they can achieve in a very short span of time in which they gain prominence. Many of their stories talk about gods who came down from the heavens, imparted knowledge, helped them to be where they are, and then left with the promise of coming back once everything was ready. Now, the South American mythology, especially the Incas, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, and the Mayans, have been a favorite of conspiracy theorists from around the world. This includes ancient astronaut theorists who believe that these gods were actually aliens who came down and built these magnificent structures using alien technology, which at that point of time was quite unknown to humans. And even today we are struggling with the concept of how they managed to do this, because there are a lot of elements, especially the ruins in various places, which we cannot build today with our modern technology and machinery that we have at our disposal. So this, although it is the basis for the whole theory, I prefer to believe that people can be inspired by beliefs and traditions, and the Incas in particular probably had a system that allowed them to do this. Although once again, I repeat, I do not completely rubbish the ancient astronaut theory, because some parts of it make sense when modern archaeologists and historians haven't been able to. Now, one of the most important gods in the whole Inca pantheon is Viracocha. Now, Viracocha was also known as Huiracocha, Viracocha, or Virococha, was the god of the Incas and was regarded as the creator of the universe. So in short, he is one of those gods who everyone attributes the creation of the whole planet, skies, the stars, and almost every other element that we see today, including living beings. He was also known for being a teacher to the people and is believed to have gone far and wide teaching humanity. This also explains the whole concept that he came, imparted knowledge to the Incas, and then left because he had much more work to do in other parts of the world. Viracocha was worshipped before he was incorporated into the Inca pantheon. In ancient Peru, he was given a headdress and a battle axe by Manco Capac, the first Inca ruler. His name was also assumed by King Viracocha Inca. While Incans did not have written language like I explained earlier, the rich oral traditions were still maintained by the legends surrounding Viracocha. The civilization's peak was reached between 500 and 900 AD, and then we have seen stories of how they suddenly disappeared, leaving no trace behind. In art, Viracocha has been depicted as a bearded man with a long robe, and early works of him have featured a statue of him at the ruins of Tiwanaku, which is a mind-blowing structure and is considered to be the spot where everything on this planet and in this cosmos was originally created. And that whole structure itself is believed to be built by giants. Even though he was not assigned to look after the interests of humans, the creator god Viracocha was still very much involved in the lives of his children, or the Incas. As the supreme creator god, he was often referred to by the Inca using various names. Now, these other names perhaps were used because the god's real name was too sacred to be spoken, including Ilia, which meant light, Tichi, which meant beginning, and Viracocha Pacayaki, which meant the instructor or teacher. In terms of his powers and abilities and how he achieved what he did in the limited time that he was with the Inca, is that he first created giant beings out of stone during the Age of Darkness. He then punished them for their misdeeds by sending a massive flood, and in most cases these creatures returned to their original form once they were punished. Now, history has records of flooding because of various rivers and rains in the Amazonian region of South America, and it actually ties in with historical events as well of major floods. Now, of all the Inca gods, he is one of the most identifiable, as the ruins which have baffled archaeologists with their intricate and mind-boggling construction are mostly dedicated to Viracocha, the creator god. And like we discussed earlier, giants were created to build these structures, and it was not the people themselves who built it. And this is quite evident from the oral stories and traditions that the modern descendants of the Inca still pass around. Even the scholars who came in as part of the Spanish Inquisition into South America have documented tales where the Inca people claim that they haven't created anything. It was Viracocha who created everything, built these structures using giants, and they don't have any explanation of how this was actually possible by human beings. Now, like we mentioned, the ancient astronaut theorists, they believe that Viracocha was actually an extraterrestrial being or an alien who visited Earth. And there have been multiple episodes on the History Channel detailing why this is so, with interpretations from art, carvings, structures, and even certain parts of these structures which were purely dedicated to some of the Inca gods. Now, as we don't know what the actual status is because of the lack of documented or written history from these times, we can easily assume that the Inca were a proud section of people because they took immense pride in their culture and what every single bit of what they created stood for. Now, if these people themselves refuse to take credit for some of the most amazing structures on planet Earth, including the pyramids that are found in various parts of South America, if they decided that they do not want credit as a race or as a tribe for these constructions, but were happily willing to give it away to a god who visited them for a short period of time, it clearly states that the presence of the god had something to do that is far beyond what we can imagine or what we can comprehend today. There are many other gods within the Inca pantheon who have equally marvelous stories and magnificent histories behind them, which we will soon explore in further episodes of Mythloke. So this is your host Nitin Nair signing off, reminding you once again that Mythloke is the home of mythology.